Well, everybody, welcome to POS, the yada 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 yada. Bobby, how are you? Not hearing him, so I guess he's doing great. He's the best.
I
That's how
didn't
he's
mean
doing.
you were gonna realize you're gonna be like fucking instantaneous there. I thought I'd have 30 seconds to walk over to my camera. My bad.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. I'm doing great, buddy. How are
You
you?
asked if I was ready to go. I said yes. You said, all right, give me a minute. I gave you a minute. I said, you ready to go? I'll be ready to go as soon as you are. So I went. That's
Well,
me.
here we are.
I hit the button. So, hooray. Technology. Um, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. I was at a therapy today and I was waiting in the lobby and a person just yelled out of nowhere to another person, but they didn't seem to know each other. They're just kind of nuts. One yelled out, I'm having nachos today. And the other one said, not me. I'm not having nachos. And then they both, I felt stares and I realized they were both staring at me. For me, a third stranger in this thing, to also talk to them about their consumption or not consumption of nachos. And I just put my head back down. And then I felt the stare again. And one goes, are you going to have nachos? And I'm not saying they were special needs, but there's somewhere where they weren't regular style to have this conversation. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get my head ready for my therapy. Because where I go, my insurance isn't the best. So yeah, I'm a normal person at this place, but most of them are just usually there because the courts made them go somewhere, or they're there for like a meeting about drinking and maybe like punching a child or something, or just nut jobs. So I remember that, and I don't like going in the afternoon, but I had to move my schedule because in the afternoon that's when the crazies are there. The mornings they're still sleeping off their meds. So I'm like, God damn it! And then finally one says, I make mine with salsa and cheese, and she goes, you make it with cheese and then you put salsa on, right? And then the other one goes, yeah, I bake it with the salsa. There's a me too, and that's when I looked up and said, wait a minute, you cooked the salsa? And then they both looked at me like I was them. And I'm like, wait, you seriously, you cooked salsa. Why are you having hot? That's puke. You dip it in after. And then my therapist came out and said, all right, Pat, I'm ready. And I went in there, livid. So I put this on Facebook. It said, to settle a debate, I didn't want to say this with mental challenge people. Do you put the salsa on when you're making them at home, put them in the oven? Do you put the salsa on and then put it in the oven like a psycho? Or do you just dip it afterwards because you want the cold of the salsa with the hot of the cheese and the nacho? Bobby.
I would say to you what you should have said to them. Those thoughts are mine, not yours.
Yes, that's a good joke. Do you put hot salsa on? I need to know. I want to make sure
I
I'm
don't.
not them.
I wouldn't bake salsa, but I also wouldn't eat salsa. I don't do chunks.
Right, but do you okay? So anything you dip it in, guacamole, sour cream.
Yeah, no. Anything
When
like
you
that's
cook
going on.
nachos, what do you do?
Anything like that should go on after.
Right, you don't. Okay, if you're gonna make a plate of nachos, if you're gonna put them on a cheap pan, put them in the oven. I just do the chips and the cheese. I'm not a jalapenos guy. I would get doing the jalapenos if you're gonna do it because them a little warm is not bad. But that's not me. I do the cheese on it. If you're doing meats and that nature, yes, anything that should be warmed. But hot salsa sounds like puke.
Yeah, here's my thoughts on the matter. If I'm going to get nachos, I'm just gonna go to Taco Bell. I have I have a hard time putting the effort in, like baking it in the oven, because it just never lives up to my expectations. Maybe your technique is better than mine, and that's why you enjoy it more. So continue. So you would do the chips.
You have to buy a decent chip first of all. And this was a whole thing I got into on Facebook. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you can go to the thing and check it out. If you're here in the thing, if you're here, put your comments in. Kish did his comment on the Facebook, but he can say it again too. He says if he was going, because he doesn't. I don't think he does this also thing. But if you're going to, here's my thing. I get a good chip. It doesn't have to be expensive, whatever, but it can't be like the shittiest store chip because they just go from bag to stale if you cook them. They just do. But if they're a decent chip at all, they will bake well. You don't have to do it a long time. You cover it with a shredded cheese. I usually buy it shredded. I'm not going to sit there and do it with a grater. I'm not a psychopath. And you put the grated cheese on there, and you cook it to the point where the cheese is mush, not brown. If it gets brown, and the second it gets cold for a second, you're not. It's going to become glue. So you get like a nice melt, like you would on a burger type deal all over the thing. Then when you take that off, then you can put the other things on or just put side dips or whatever. I got, at this point, on my Facebook thing, this was, I on purpose, at least once every 2 days, to get my algorithm going, because Facebook will pay you money if you're, if you get decent views, this, that, whatever. So I do that every day, some kind of thing. So I was like, I'll put this on there. Maybe this will get me a couple things. I'm at this point, there are 200-something comments, and this is up an hour ago, on this subject. On this. Most people, most sane people, I would put the salsa on after.
Yeah,
One guy was like, okay, go ahead.
Definitely that. I would take it a step further, and I don't think I'd even cook the chips. I think I'd cook the meat real hot, put it on fresh chips, sprinkle the cheese on, and hope it melts.
See, that's the problem. It won't. I was in your camp a while back. It won't melt because the meat, if it melts on anything, it'll melt on the meat. And then you just have like a cheesy chili, which is fine. But if you want a nacho, a chip with cheese on it, you won't have that. It won't melt, and you'll be eating kind of cold, clumpy cheese on a chip. And that's a weird texture. You want that melty cheese. So yeah, I'm on board with that too. If you're doing meat. I don't always do the meat there. I sometimes it's just like a nacho, whatever. One dude he does both. And I was like, do tell. And, Jody B's in the house, okay? I was like, dude, what do you mean both? And he goes, well, I have it afterwards, but I like a queso. So I put the salsa on, and I melt the cheese and do it. But that's white trash. That's not queso. That's like when you just if you take ziti, and you just, when you're done with it, you pour cold sauce, throw shredded cheese, and mix it with a spoon and call it ziti. No, dude, that's trash now. It's okay. You could do it in a quick pinch, but you can't call it ziti. That's not queso. You just took cheese and you made salsa on it and you mushed it a little bit. Make a queso or buy queso.
What if he does do the full step of going Velveeta with Rotel and melting it down and making like a queso out of it? You can do that in the microwave.
You can do that, but if you're going that step, you're not a trash bag, and you're not even having these questions. The second you are now making something, even microwave style, you're still like a trailer gourmet, which is, I like that. That's a fun thing to be. You know what I mean? You're working with what you got in your kitchen. But if you're just saying both, that's not both. That wasn't the question. I didn't say, do you turn one to a queso? One lady goes, I don't even do salsa, like you kind of said. And you and I are having a podcast and a conversation, so I allowed you to have an opinion. But when I wrote the question, when making nachos in the oven, you put the salsa on before or after, you go, I just use a sharp cheddar cheese. I wrote, that's not the fucking question. Learn how to pay attention. Because I didn't ask that. I don't want people to tell me their other dumb thing. Now, I like what you do with the queso, but once again, now we're in queso talk, and I'm not having a queso conversation. I don't want you. Someone else is like, well, I do a pico de gallo. You go pico to fuck yourself. That's not what I'm talking about.
You're going to be pico de angry when I say this, but from a philosophical standpoint, does she not have eternity to then put salsa on the plate from which she made the nachos to say she put salsa on after? By default, the fact that she already made the nachos without salsa on it means she falls into the after camp? Or does she
that you assume this was a she. The person that said this thing was a he.
Oh, man. I thought you said it was a she.
Wait, do you mean the original group of tards that said it, or the person that said the thing
sharp
on
cheddar?
Facebook?
The sharp cheddar.
That was a she. You are correct.
Okay,
You are correct. Sharp cheddar is a lady thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's A, that was clue one. And B, typically people with slowness.
Bobby and I won't be making a cooking show, but thank you. There's enough of those. I don't need that. I don't need to be sued more than once. Anyway, go ahead.
Typically, people with slower persuasion with two X chromosomes, they debate things like princesses.
All right. Well, I'm not.
And unicorns, whereas the males tend to fall into the nacho camp. That's how I assumed it was males originally.
No. Women do take the nacho thing seriously. Women love nachos. If women love tacos, they have to love nachos. That's kind of a thing.
Can I be completely honest with you, Pat? Women like ruining nachos like they do everything else.
Oh my god.
They're going to come and say they're making you nachos, but it's going to end up being some healthy celery keto chip bullshit with like no one.
I think this is why, because you have a closed-minded thing. Dude, I'm telling you right now, most women, especially if they are in the beginning of a relationship, will on purpose bring the snack game up to a notch, like to a level where you're thinking they want to do. They
up
do
to a
that.
notch or up to a nacho, Pat? What are we talking about here?
They do that shit when they're on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok trying to impress the masses. But when they're chilling at home getting ready to watch Netflix, they ain't fucking around with that. They're melting butter in a fucking pot and they're pouring it on the popcorn. They're going style. You know what I mean? They're pouring Parmesan cheese on the shit. They're doing things the snack way. They just don't want people to see that because they'll go, oh, they won't think I'm healthy when I do my yoga fart video or whatever. But back to the question at hand. So I've got, holy shit. If you look at it, most people just said after. But like some people wanted to like argue with me. And then one guy writes what you said. People make nachos at home. But I know this guy, Nick Breen, he's the trashiest guy I know. I couldn't even imagine him going somewhere and ordering anything. Like you said Taco Bell, but that's not a nacho. I don't like getting nachos at a restaurant because they pile it up too crazy.
The nachos at Taco Bell aren't nachos?
No.
What's your definition of nachos? Because it says on the menu, nacho Belgrano. No, I'm just playing. I know what you mean. I get what you're saying.
No, I want to make sure I'm right because I was on board with you. So tell me, what were you about to say?
About the Taco Bell?
Taco Bell and why do you say those are nachos?
I mean, I think it typically has all the ingredients you need to be a nacho. I think for me, there has to be a type of cooked meat that could also be put into a taco. And then chip and cheese. Anything else is just added, right? You could choose to put some lettuce on there. You could choose guacamole. You could choose sour cream. You know what I mean? But I think they have the requirements. Now,
they don't build it like a nacho. Like a lot of times, I know what you're saying, but usually they're treated like the movies does in like a cafeteria where they just give you a thing of chips and then a thing of cheese whiz and they go to town. That's not nachos. That's chips and cheese.
That's old school. They do
that's
now
not
have
any school. That's homeschooled.
Now they do. I don't even know what that says. No, they do like the actual presentation.
You did it Velveeta over a lighter and dripped it on.
That,
I want to watch
like
that.
crack.
Someone make that video. That's a cooking video. You get like a welder's torch.
But no, they present it like typical traditional.
Yeah,
nachos.
my nephew Mike in the house. Mike, how do you make nachos? He's the guy who likes to eat. If you put them in the oven, do you put salsa on the chips, Mikey, or before you cook it, or do you put salsa afterwards? I'm probably influencing a child, and I shouldn't. But anyway, go ahead, Bobby. I'm sorry. I was excited that my nephew came on.
No, they do present it traditionally, like it in with the chips and then all layered. Like you're talking
nachos Bel Grande.
Yeah,
but if you order just nachos from Taco Bell, they give you the chips and cheese.
No, that's actual side itself is chips and cheese. What you described.
Okay, you want the greatest answer by my nephew? Here it comes. I do chips, shredded cheese, and a wet. Wait, what's that? That's not Joe. That's not my nephew.
That's not your nephew.
Here you go. Here's my nephew.
Yeah.
Aren't we all, Mike? Aren't we all? And my nephew also says, "Hi, Bobby."
Hi, Mike.
He's been watching this since the Frank days, and he used to watch it in school in class afterwards.
Oh yeah, boy, you were trouble, huh, Mike?
Well, it's okay. He's supporting his uncle, and it's fine. If you get enough super chats, you will make the nachos instead of talking about them. We don't. I can't even get super chats yet. We have enough views. Second of all, I made the nachos because here's the point I was going to get to. I don't like getting nachos in a restaurant because they layer them too freaking high. They put all this shit, they over fucking complicate it. Or the new thing they do is they now make each individual chip with shit on it, and it's like, fuck you. Don't fucking food chef my shit. You know what I mean? Don't fucking chef's table my nacho. I don't need it like little fancy. It's supposed to be a pile of shit. Back in the day when you went to a bar and you got nachos, it was just a pile of chip. The top part had the cheese. You knew the bottom part wasn't gonna. You'd fight with people over the ones that had the good toppings on it and you win. But you never get the right bite. I'd rather make it at home doing a single layer so I get cheese on every chip and I can eat it while watching a fucking movie on Netflix. I don't want to go buy. Everyone's like, "Oh, you go buy it." Oh, sorry, you're all Mr. Moneybucks. By the time you go buy your fucking nachos and bring them home, or they Grubhub them to you, they're not warm anymore. So what the fuck? Now you're eating dog food, you stupids.
We used to in college on Tuesdays. The one place called Champs would have dollar nacho night, and we used to go. And that was always the issue, was the layering. Like you'd end up fighting for the good.
I'm gonna go ahead. He's just writing while he's yelling at people. Are yelling at us
Why are they yelling?
because I didn't read one chip. See, this is a very passionate subject, Bobby. Shredded cheese and a wet poster. I don't get it. You get it?
No, I don't either. I'm glad we read it though.
We didn't have to read it. I just said, look at you were talking, and you stopped, so that's why I thought you wanted to read it.
No. I just make a nacho lasagna. Ah, interesting.
That's not nachos. I know what he's saying. It's not really lasagna. He does the layers in between, but the cheese melts differently each time. Because it's underneath the chip, it's going to melt different than it does on top of the chip.
What if you broil it?
You can broil it, but most people either have no patience or too much patience, and you either burn them or you just get smoked chip and no cheese melt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that right there, what you just described, is my whole issue with making nachos at home. A lot of effort, little reward.
But the reward is eating them.
Right, but let's say you didn't put all the time to do what you just described, and you just bought yourself a tortilla and just made a taco.
But I don't want tacos. Tacos a different game.
I think you got influenced today by Big Nacho.
Who's Big Nacho? Is that a Mexican
I
guy who
think-
sells me weed?
I wish. I think Big Nacho sent those two mentally deficient fellas in there to discuss nachos, so you would be on here discussing nachos, and all these people in the chat are going to go home and make nachos. I think Tostito. What was that bowl Ohio State won when Maurice Claret was their running back?
Tostado, I think, is a dish. I think.
So Tostitos.
Tostitos is the bowl. You can be a champion of Tostitos. Now
Remember?
That's Big Nacho.
Dude, do you remember when Maurice Claret won that game and was like the best player in football ever, and then decided to break into cars?
Yes. That was my favorite.
Do you think he was trying to get money to make nachos at home? Because that seems like a pretty trashy move to me.
What I think happened was once he got the award and it said you're a Tostitos champion, he's like, I'm trash. Like, no matter how you spin this, once the sponsor's like the stupidest thing ever, you don't want to be the nachos champion.
It is. I do think Tressel, that was their head coach at the time, might be the last coach to get away, white coach to get away with a sweater vest.
Football.
I feel like
basketball, they all still do it a lot.
Yeah, but again, it just feels like something extra white about a sweater vest on him, and it makes it really feel like, yeah, you run that football for me, boy.
Yeah, and I do think, and this is not probably a shared opinion with everybody, but I do think it's image. I think if you're going to coach a couple people and they might be a different color than you can wear a sweater vest. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to coach a whole lot of people that may be a different race than you, it looks a little ownery, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, we say the Pittsburgh coaches could wear a sweater vest. The Philly coaches could not.
But what about the Penn State? They can wear a Teddy Ruxpin vest and fuck the kids.
You know what? Linebacker you. That's what I have to say about that, okay? It was called Linebacker you. couple things happened to some kids, all right? But a lot of good linebackers made it to the NFL because of it.
Comebacker me.
I'm just saying.
Yes, they did have some good linebackers that really didn't amount to anything in the NFL. But they also... name me the Hall of Famers.
Hall of Fame linebackers.
Out of Penn State.
A.J. Hawk.
Okay, not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, well, he also went to Ohio State.
Right. I was like...
That was the joke I was going for there. That was a deep cut. My bad.
They always had very good college middle linebackers that never really amounted to a ton in the NFL. They played.
They were just like role players. Yeah.
Well, they also were great in a system. That's what Penn State was all about. Like, Penn State was kind of like Indiana Hoosiers basketball. Great in a system, but then couldn't play on their own and on other under systems. They flourished under the coach.
Speaking of football systems, I have our first POS story. May I present it to you?
You can, but can I get a fine? Am I right? Are the
Yes.
retards right? Who's right on the nacho gate?
You are right on the nacho. Here's why. You don't cook vegetables.
Is salsa a vegetable?
It's full of vegetables.
It is.
You know,
considered a vegetable.
if you're cooking a vegetable, it should be for a sauce. The first people who cooked vegetables and it wasn't for the point of like reducing it to sauce were the Chinese, and the reason why is like the vegetables they got were so dirty that they couldn't eat raw. So they had to cook it to kill off all the germs because they didn't have the good pesticides we had in the Western world. No, the Chinese. This is 100% true. The germs. Oh, yeah.
I heard that wrong, and I'm like, this got crazy.
Yo, the Chinese went reverse Holocaust. That's why we cook our vegetables, because the Chinese went full reverse Holocaust.
You calling it reverse Holocaust is like when people think that, when there's someone who says, only white people can be racist. I'm like, no, anyone can have a Holocaust if they try.
Yeah, anyway, the Hootsies and the Tutus.
Is that a dance move that I don't know?
That was Hotel Rwanda. That was cultural genocide.
Oh my god! Do you remember when people were like recommending everyone to watch that movie? They're like, "You gotta see it. Don Cheadle is the greatest."
And there was that stupid fucking song that came out.
Oh yeah, what was that song?
Got my head cut off at the Hotel Rwanda.
That was not the song. Lopping it off at the Hotel Rwanda.
Committing genocide on the basis of genetic. Committing cultural genocide on the basis of genetics.
Ooh, that's right. See, Bobby? Since tomatoes and peppers are fruits, it's actually a fruit and vegetable medley. Tomatoes are fruits.
You're a fruit.
Your Honor, the defense rests.
Boom.
I would want to hire a lawyer whose whole defense is the "I know you are, but what am I" thing. It's like, this man killed his wife. Like, you killed your wife. It's like, what? It's like,
I saw a video today, and the guy, it was a video of the dude's lawyer, and he had such a bad fake hair that fucking, he was just like, this is my lawyer. I'm definitely going to prison.
Why did I freeze?
Because that joke was so cold.
I hope we don't have the problem like last time. God damn it.
No, I think we're good.
Well, am I moving to you? I'm not moving to me, so.
No, but like, it's not our good looks that people are here for.
Well, they're not looking to see me put my chin up at them. Look at that guy reading. But, why don't you do the first POS story while we wait for this to stop being frozen?
Well, while we wait for it, I do want to speculate. Is it potentially possible that Big Nacho is stopping you from ending this discussion? They're like, if we freeze him.
Right? Or they froze me because we just said, or is it Big Salsa mad because we just said they're not a vegetable?
Yeah. Or is it YouTube because that was a little homophobic what I said? Anyway, hopefully our good friend Pat will return. I think he can still hear me in the meantime. But for you fine folks watching, I don't think you should cook salsa. I think it kind of loses some of the flavor by clumping together. A lot of that juice is just going to be evaporated, and that's where you're getting a lot of the spice in particular. I don't really eat salsa, though, so maybe I'm the idiot here. I am a fan of hot peppers, and again, typically that the juice is what screws you there. The juice is what screwed that nice white lady and then murdered her because she was hanging out with a karate instructor. The blueberry, is it a standalone fruit? Anyway, so hopefully Pat joins us, but if not, I can't see the comments, so I'm not going to go to the chat, but I will just talk in the meantime. We're going to talk about UCLA versus Arizona. And you might go, why are they talking about college football? I promise it comes back to me being a mentally ill narcissist. But basically, here's what happened. UCLA's head coach is Chip Kelly, not to be confused with Jim Kelly, the dude who died of cancer. Although the way UCLA has been playing the last 3 games, you could argue they're dying of cancer. But Chip Kelly is known for being a system man. He's a genius when it comes to coming up with the system. He kind of invented the no-huddle offense, using the signs on the sidelines to run plays. Had a great career at Oregon. Never won a national championship, but did get a job with the Eagles, where he then proceeded to trade all the black players away, according to LaShawn McCoy. At the time, Riley Cooper was using the N-word a decent amount, so that's a very viable argument. But went to there, failed, went back, got a job at UCLA. He's playing Arizona, who up to this point has won 3 games under the coach's tenure. Not very good. And the coach was riding the plane on the way home from his previous game and heard about this new package called the Swing Gate. And this is from like the 60s. He was listening to a history of football podcast. Looked it up, saw if the formation would still be legal in today's era, and then watched YouTube videos to install it and used it several times at crucial points to beat Chip Kelly. Very funny that a guy used YouTube videos to beat this legendary football genius. But the story thickens because when I was coaching football in high school, I was an offensive coordinator. We didn't have a line. It's a long story. And I looked up YouTube videos to install. It worked really well in practice, but the head coach argued that he was like, I don't think YouTube videos are going to work for us, and never let me use it. So when I saw that story about the guy using the YouTube, I clipped it and texted to that coach and was like, see, I'm not wrong. And he was like, you need to let that go. It was nearly a decade ago. And this is the point where normally I present it to Pat, but I am going to just check and see if he's texted me because he's been gone an awfully long time. He said he would be right back, but let me see if I can let him in a while. Sorry, I'm off cam. My computer's away, and I'm unprofessional. How are you guys doing out there in YouTube, Patreon land? Oh, thank goodness. He's back, just like we planned it.
How did Jim? Last I heard, Jim Kelly, not the one that died of cancer, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, I kind of told the story, but I was also trying to check and see. So, just to catch you up, Pat, I'll do it a little less robotically now that I've flushed it out once with the audience. But Chip Kelly, he's a system coach. You may remember he invented like the no-huddle offense using the big signs on the sidelines.
Oregon coach, got to the NFL, all that stuff.
Yeah. Eventually he got kicked out, went back to UCLA. They're kind of on a slide. They're playing Arizona, who's won 3 games while this guy's been head coach. He's on a plane listening to a history of football podcast. Hears about this formation called the Swing Gate. Goes, that's interesting. Looks it up, sees if it's still legal today, because the last time it was really used was the 40s. It is. I think I said 60s before. Sometime between the 40s and the 60s. It's still legal. Found a bunch of YouTube videos about it and installed it and used it to beat Chip Kelly. The story would end there, except for the fact that when I was a football coach, I tried to install a bunch of plays that I found on YouTube, and the head coach of the team, I was the offensive coordinator, was like, I don't think we should trust YouTube videos for our system. It'll never work. That's not a good idea. So I texted him a link to the article and went, still think YouTube videos won't work? And he went, you need to let that go. It was 7 years ago. Who's the piece of shit in the story, Pat? Is it me for not letting things go, even though I was right and we would have won more than one game, even though we averaged 35 points? Is it him? because he couldn't admit he was wrong even 7 years later, despite the fact that football legend Chip Kelly got beat. Is it the audience for listening to me ramble about that story twice? We'll kick it to you first, Pat.
It's not the audience. Thank you for sitting and hanging in there. It's not you because you tried to kill time by telling a story while I was gone. Is it me? Possibly. It is you for calling yourself a football coach. But anyway,
Whoa.
no. I get it. You were coaching football, but like you said Chip Kelly and then you. It's kind of, like when an open mic guy says he's a comedian and then like you say you're a comedian. You're like, hey.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But I would like to say it's more like Lloyd Carr, the guy who played the bench for the Celtics during Larry Bird's run, and then Kobe at the time saying, I'm a basketball player. Like, sure, maybe at the higher level at this point in time, Chip Kelly's done more, but given the opportunity, I'm going to rape a chick. Go on, Pat.
All right, it's you now. Just for ending it that way and going, that's what I do. What is this thing here? Thanks, Kish, for kind of weirdly plugging a show I have in Derby.
No, I love it. Hell yeah, Kish. Here's a question, though. Do you still say break a leg to comedians? Because wasn't the whole thing about the joke? It's a joke? Because if you
Speaking
break
of
a
that,
leg...
We didn't have a guest this week because I couldn't get anybody who didn't want to get hit by a bus. So, if anyone's out there, we'll be sharing the link later. Our guest from last show, Barb, was ridiculously hit by a bus while riding a city bike. There's a GoFundMe out there. Please help her out. All the jobs she does involves arms, bartending, comedy, all these things. So we need to help her out. She was awesome on the show. Go watch the podcast before she got hit by a bus. The next day, hit by a bus. So help her out. But yes, I hate when people say break a leg anytime anyway.
And if you do reach out to Barb, send a better message than me, because I thought she was joking about getting hit by a bus, to which I responded, when I said be more like Donovan, this isn't what I meant.
Who's Donovan?
Crip Daddy.
Oh, that comic guy that you knew that died?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was in a wheelchair?
He got hit by a bus?
No, but the joke was like, I meant be more like him as a person, not like crippled.
Oh. Yeah, I know you were friends with him. I don't think of him as the Crip Daddy. I always think of like a guy in a gang, the Crips, who might call himself the Crip Daddy. So, yes, and right there, yes, R.I.P. R.I.P. everybody. R.I.P. the city bike. R.I.P. Crip Daddy. R.I.P. Matthew Perry. R.I.P. everyone who's ever died ever.
Bitch, I'm drowning.
Yes, that's from a song that
I'm
we covered last week
drowning
as well.
I'm drowning.
So you were going to say break a leg. I don't like that saying. I just don't think it. I get why it was originally said. I know the whole meaning.
Do you get why it was originally said? Because I have another theory on it. Why was it originally said?
It's some kind of like urban legend thing where somebody said it because there was someone in a theater thing 100 or something years ago that their leg did snap, and they had a great performance, so people were saying, like that guy did.
I've heard that, but I think we're just overthinking it. What happens when you break your leg?
You cry?
What do they do to it? They put it in a
cast? So you're saying
when you're
in a cast?
So when you're auditioning for a play, people tell you to break a leg so you get put in the cast.
Maybe, but then why do they say it to people that aren't acting?
That was my question. I think it started as a stupid dad joke, and then people were like, no, it's a superstition, and they just extended it to all entertainment. I'm genuinely asking here, what is the origin of break a leg?
So if you want someone, if you don't like someone, you want them to get fucked.
Yeah.
Say, act like your mom's asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Get fucked. Anyway, I think
it could be, but I don't like when people say it to me now because they just say it to say it, like break a leg. Like on Facebook, they'll comment under, I have a show. Like, you know what? Go to the show or shut up. Break a leg.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kish was just trying to get you a cheap plug.
Oh, that's
But he-
Kish.
does he live in Connecticut?
I forgot he said break a leg. I just
Yeah. But does he live in Connecticut?
Kish is a good human. I'm not talking about him.
Speaking of good humans, you know who was the piece of shit in my story?
You.
No, it was still Steph Jordanov. Rotten out.
Steph Jordanov. The other guy.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is his dad did the boy named Sue thing and called him a girl's name, and he's had a chip on his shoulder ever since.
Yeah,
This
his
was
name's not
before-
Steph.
No, it's literally Steph. Steph.
Stefan?
No, it's Steph Jordanov.
I've known a Stefan, I've known a Stefan, and I've known a Steven, and they were all spelt the same way.
That's hilarious. If you're gonna call your kid Steven, spell it with a V. Be a man.
There's a bunch of PHs out there.
Yeah, but then you got guys like Curry who go, no, that's Steph Curry.
Right. But the Stefan I knew in high school or elementary school, he had an F. But he was also, his parents were from, like, Italy. So, like, I got it because it was spelling from a different, you know what I mean? It wasn't American style. He
Dude,
was
I like that.
Stefan.
That's how fucking Urkel came out of the closet. Stefan with an F.
No, that wasn't the closet. That's when he was supposed to probably be a man. He was like a simp nerd, and then he became like sex man Stefan. That must have been wild because they're like, you got to be sexy for this. He's like, well, I'm a kid. They're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Now, you know how no one wants to fuck you? He's like, I'm a kid in this. I'm in school. Yeah, but nobody wants to fuck you, you nerd. So can you be hot? He's like, all right, was Dennis Schroeder or whatever. Get out of here with your directions.
I think he actually demanded that because he was tired of not getting any girls.
Obviously there wasn't a guy saying be a hot nerd. I was
no, that was Nickelodeon.
Joke.
That was Nickelodeon. There was a dude.
They would never do that in TGI Friday, Bobby. They had respect there. They never put a show on with 3 hot girls and a family of 8.
That was GDIM. God damn it, it's Monday. I got to get molested again.
But that was the big thing for TGIF. Like your family was either black or they had hot white daughters. That was it. But they gave you all the levels. Like that step-by-step one, they're like, there's a slutty one, there's also an innocent one, there's a nerdy one. But they all have big tits.
And for those reasons, your co-host is in.
Right.
Love me some big tits.
And it was those 3, and then they had that guy who was in like that Kung Fu movie, and then he ended up being the dorky neighbor who lived in a van. That guy ruled. Is that show before your time?
Yep.
Step by Step.
I was just shooting references with you, trying.
No, there was Step by Step had Suzanne Summers, rest in peace.
Oh, I loved her song about cakes in the rain.
I don't know that reference at all.
That was Diane
Summers
Summers.
had a song about cakes in the rain.
MacArthur's Park. Someone left a cake out in the rain.
What's the song's about? That's a line. When you said it, I thought there was like a song with the whole theme.
That's it. That's the fucking theme of the song, is it not?
It's a metaphor. Anyway.
A metaphor for what? What's the metaphor for a cake in the rain, Pat? You can eat cake in the rain.
When you leave a cake in the rain, okay, Bobby, let's do the thing you did to the cast. All right, Bobby, you leave a cake in the rain. What happens to it?
Someone eats it? A homeless guy in particular?
It gets soggy, and it's not fun anymore.
Oh.
It's ruining a good time. Don't piss your pants is what that song was about.
I thought this... Oh, I get it. It's about forgetfulness.
Yeah, don't forget to pee. That's what it's all about. Suzanne Summers, Patrick Duffy of Dallas fame were the parents. And then they had a bunch of kids. And that was the same time they would have that on, Perfect Strangers, all those shows were on at the same time. It was a good block of kids.
Now, what was Perfect Strangers?
Perfect Strangers was Balky Bartakamos and Cousin Larry. Balky was from, you know what this show is, but Balky was from a different band.
I genuinely don't.
Okay, here's the premise. There's nothing more late 80s, early 90s than this sitcom. There's a guy named Larry, and Larry's from Chicago, right? And he's going to move from the suburbs to the city of Chicago to be like a writer. And he has a distant cousin who lives in a country called Mipos. And the sign at the beginning shows Larry walking out of his suburb house, and they're playing the song, the old like the Alan Thicke sang '80s theme song, a good one that you can when you stuck in your head forever. They're doing that. Then they show Mipos, and here's Balky Bartakamos, and he's getting on a cart pulled by a goat. And on the back it says America or burst because he's stupid and foreign and doesn't realize it's supposed to say bust. And it pulls him away. And then Larry's in his apartment and doesn't even know Balky's coming. And Balky shows up and goes, I am your cousin Larry. Or Balky, whatever. And then Larry's like, all right, this is fucking weird. He moves in, and their neighbors are two blonde ladies with huge tits. I'm telling you, this was
I'm in already.
Yep. And they would kind of date these women. They were ditzy airline stewardesses. So back then, it was still hot ladies with big boobs being dumb, dating Larry and his cousin, being there. Now, the crazy things were Larry understood the city. Balky was a moron from Mipos and didn't understand. And his big catchphrase was, "Don't be ridiculous." No, it was,
that's a different Larry.
Don't be ridiculous, cousin Larry. He would say that. And so people were saying that to each other all the time. Don't be ridiculous, cousin Larry. Now, that character came, Bronson Pinchot, the actor, was in Beverly Hills Cop, the first one, where he played a gay man that might have been from a different country talking to Eddie Murphy. And people thought, and Hollywood thought, this is so crazy that you're like gay. Why don't you do that? But instead of being gay, be from a fake land.
I do miss
him in this.
I do miss the era of where they were like, oh no, he's not gay. He's just from a different country.
Yeah, where that's okay. Well, when I was growing up, I don't know where I got this, but I know I didn't make it up. But when I was growing up, people would tell me all the time that, if you were gay, you were French.
I mean,
I know gay Paris, but like they would just say that. I remember when I was a kid, we went to Block Island with my family, and a guy was walking up the stairs from the beach, and we were walking down, and the guy had a Speedo on, really small, and that was it. And he was walking with another man. And I said to my mom, "Is that gay?" She's like, "Shh." I'm like,
yes.
"Oh, he's French." And then she said yes, and then that was it.
I remember my grandfather, for lesbians, would just say she was really athletic. That was like his code. Instead of saying French for gay, he would just be like,
instead of saying, I thought you meant for a lesbian. I was like,
no, he would just be like, she's very athletic, Bob.
Well, tomboy. That was our thing. She's a tomboy.
How did that feel? How did people named Tom feel about that?
Can you be an Uncle Tomboy? Can you be...
That's what they call TERFs.
That's the ultimate identify as anything. I'm Uncle Tomboy. I'm fluid as fuck. I can do anything. I'm not going back on Twitter, but if I do, my handle's Uncle Tomboy. I don't think that's taken.
Isn't that what 50 Cent called Kanye when he signed with Gap?
Uncle Tomboy?
Uncle Tommy Hilfiger?
Yes, not Uncle Tomboy, Uncle Tommy Hilfiger.
No, I just made that up, but you can have it 50.
You talk about me with Big Nacho.
Mm-hmm.
You and Big Curtis, like that's been 4 weeks in a row now that you have mentioned Curtis Jackson in some way, shape, or form.
I don't know how to tell you this, Pat, but I am living my life like 50 Cent.
Before or after he got shot?
Was his self-inflicted?
Well, I expect he wasn't famous.
Because then we're getting real close to that point.
All right. Kish says the origin of break-a-legs. Some originated in ancient Greece where people stomped their feet instead of applauding at the end of a performance. If they stomped long and hard, they'd break a leg. Oh, my God.
And what's crazy is Kish was there when they did that.
Yeah, leave Kish alone.
No, I love you, Kish.
Okay. And thank you. But that makes less sense now. Because if they want you to break a leg as the performer...
They're not telling you to break your leg. They're saying break a leg.
Do so well, people snap their limbs?
Yeah.
All right, then you know what, Bobby? Next time you perform, you know what I'm going to say to you? Bust a hymen. Do so good that somebody goes, Bobby, I want you to be the first.
How about you just say, "Hey, Bobby, get booked again."
Book a leg.
Hey, Bobby, start analyzing. Is what I'm about to do good for your career, or are you self-sabotaging yet again?
Oh, you're always self-sabotaging, but that's the American way nowadays. I think that's what most people do. It's the Shane Gillis method. It's where you do this thing, and you're like, he knew, and he's like, but somehow it worked, and now everyone's like, yeah, I could do that because it worked for a super talented guy that I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy was going to be famous regardless, but it doesn't matter. So, all right, I had something I had to talk about. What was I wanted to say? I did a thing. Oh, I did an overnight shift last week where I had to be on from midnight to 5:30 in the morning.
Now, this is interesting because in the old days of radio, that would be a great shift for a new disc jockey because you could use certain things to get you through the night that were fluent at the time. But you being straight edge, I would imagine that could be quite difficult to
Not only what you're saying there. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But to both be up, entertaining, and FCC compliant without getting super loopy.
Yes, you're right. But also, and what I've heard about from many radio people, it was also not only, yes, you are right with that thing, but the other things that came with that. Back in the old days, you wanted the overnight shift. People didn't want to be on in the morning because you could drink, meet girls, bring them back to the radio station because nobody cared or no cameras, hook up, party, they're all happy, and you're drinking and having a good time with ladies while playing music because you're not really talking. You would stop and go, it's the Love Master. Next up is, Buddy Buttfuck and whatever, and you just play some song. And that was it. Now, I was being on the air to do two live chats quickly with AJ from Chaz and AJ, who was in a box. He does it for 24 hours. And
he was.
Shed. Yeah. They built this shed thing, and he has to be in there for 24 hours. Now, he had to be up on the morning show first, so he actually had woken up at 2 a.m. and got out of the box at 9 p.m. the next day. So, yeah, he was in the box from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m., but he was awake for 7 hours before that and didn't get there. So the guy was up for like 35 hours straight to raise, and they raised $35,000. So it's freaking awesome what they did.
It's incredible, yeah.
But my job was in the overnight. Every hour, twice an hour, they would check in with him. We would do a live thing. So he's in there, and it was going good. He sounded really good. And I was shocked because he also just went through a hernia surgery. He had gotten COVID like a month before. The guy had like a lot of medical shit going on. He had to actually get a doctor's note for it to be okay for him to go in the box because they were like, maybe you shouldn't go in. He's like, no, this is my fucking thing. I want to do it. No one else should be in the box. And people like him a lot. So they would donate more because they don't want him to suffer. And they did this year every hour or every $1,000 raised was a different creature comfort. You know what I mean? So he actually went in. He actually went into the box. There was a heater, but he went in with boxers and a t-shirt, and it was fucking 40 degrees out. So he had to go out there, and he had to earn pants. He had to earn a jacket. He had to earn a comfortable chair. He could earn a coffee. He could earn donut. So different shit. But when I got him, he wasn't sounding too loopy or exhausted. He sounded okay. Now they had two guys with him that are on the street team guys who have to there overnight to help with the collection of stuff, but also to make sure no one vandalizes a guy in a box because there's assholes out there. It's in a car dealership parking lot. It's very well lit. It's a huge place. You know what I mean? So one of the sponsors is the car dealership. But at one point, him and I are talking, and I'm doing a live thing with him, so I'm not recording it at all. I'm literally just going, and AJ in the box, and AJ, what's going on? And then him and I would chat back and forth for like a minute and a half, and then go back to music or commercials, whatever. He could talk to me throughout the time. I could push a button on the board. He had a microphone. I had to push a button to talk to. It was like a CB type working thing where he could just talk into the mic at any time. But for me to hear him, I have to go to the button, whatever. At one point, I just told him hey, 2 more songs and then you're back on. Now, by the way, the other thing they do, the torture, they choose a song that's annoying and they play it on a loop for 24 hours straight the entire time he's in the box. So in the background while I'm talking to him, you can hear It's a Small World After All on a loop nonstop, which would make someone insane. And
it's literally CIA torture.
Right, and he's doing that for money. And so I'm talking. I can hear that in the background. And at one point, I was like, "Hey AJ, got 2 more songs." Da, da, da. And then usually he responds right away, unless he's kind of zoned out. He doesn't fall asleep, but
Yeah, he gets.
you're tired. You stare off at the wall or do something, whatever. And so I didn't hear from him for a second. And then I said something again, and then he just goes, "All right, man, it's getting bad." I go, "What?" He goes, "I went to respond to you, but I talked into a candy bar and not the microphone." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." So we brought that up on the air and did all the. Now, the best part was, at one point I'm talking to him, I could hear alarms in the background, which sounds like a car alarm. And I'm like, "Is the car getting broken into?" He goes, No, it wasn't a car alarm. Something's going on in the car dealership. So we don't know if somebody just broke in, but now the 2 guys are supposed to be watching him are walking around with flashlights trying to be investigators. The cops are on their way, but I'm like, dude, they're leaving you alone. If someone broke in, they should not leave you in a box, like in this glass box where you can see shit. And what are they gonna fucking do? I guess what happened was there was a balloon inside the place, celebrating Toyota-thon, whatever the fuck it was, and a fan kicked on, blew the balloon. It set off the alarm, so the whole building was going off. And I'm like, that's got to be annoying. He goes, "Nope, I can't hear Small World." He's like, "I would rather hear car alarms for the next 40 minutes." And he couldn't hear it. But when I was talking to him, in the background, you hear, "Wah, wah, wah," and then quietly, behind that, you hear, "It's a world." It was like, I don't know how he handled that. I would have lost my mind. But
So we actually talked about Chaz and AJ on a podcast I do called Tales from the Satellite, where they break down radio stories as one of the few last good radio shows. There really aren't shows that do fun stunts like that anymore, and the fact that I get to kind of relive that through you is awesome.
I like that they do that. I think more stations are afraid to do that because radio's dying, obviously. And if they don't go more local, if they don't become so local that you have to listen to it if you want to hear anything local, you're done. And I know most people are going syndicated because it's cheaper on the long run and not hiring more people and voice tracking and not having live people in the studio. But on podcast like this, you and I could talk about some town or something, but no one's really going to just cue in there. But so if you live in a county, the only way you can hear about things in your county would be through radio in your car. So you have even more and they're very good at being very centralized to their area and doing that and becoming this thing of the people. Now, the thing is, too, the people that are listening have been listening for their whole lives. So the hope is that the next generation is also listening, and that's the problem where they are not. They weren't even raised on the fact that local was a thing. So therefore, why would they now think that? That's just what my dad listens to, and therefore, and in the stations that you do hear everywhere, like in dentist office, something like that, that's not even local anymore. So it's like you're missing that wacky radio personality because the radio personality isn't a big deal anymore because the YouTube personality, the TikTok personality is the big deal. So now the radio personality has to try to be on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube to get you to go, "I like this wacky guy on my YouTube. Maybe I should listen to him." But you have to listen to them at a certain time.
Yeah,
so then
in a
you
certain
go, "Okay,
area.
we'll put out the podcast version of it." But now you're not listening to it when it's on the radio. You listen to it whenever you want, and you'll listen to snippets. So it is dying.
It's sad. But literally the bit you were talking about, Fez Whatley tried to do with the listening to a song for 3 hours straight. That's all his goal was. And at about an hour and a half, his blood pressure got so high that nurses were calling in you got to call this. So the fact that he's also trapped in a fucking box outside is just nuts.
Now, I know they call it a box. It is like if someone they have a sponsor do it that's good stuff, like a roof or whatever. It's like a really good shed, but that's what it is. It's got plexiglass, it's got a real door on it, it's airtight, but there's not a lot of room to move. He's got a heater in there, and people were asking how does he go to the bathroom? Yeah, the one time he's allowed to leave, if he has to really piss or shit, he can walk out. There's a portalet literally on the other side of the door. He can go do that, then he has to go right back in. They weren't even giving him he had to earn his phone. So he didn't even have that to stay there for a while. He had to get a certain amount of money before he got his phone back to him.
That's fucking nuts. Good for dude. What a great bit.
He does it every year. He's done it for 6 years now, and they do a huge toy drive and that money is the beginning, the kickoff to the toy drive. So it's like that money goes towards what the main goal will be to get things ready for all these kids to get toys. And it's an awesome thing. But like this year, they weren't sure if he was going to do it because of his injuries and everything else. So they're trying to offer other people, and everyone's like, no. And even AJ was like, "Fuck you! I will make sure I'm medically clear. I'm doing this."
That's
and
awesome.
then give him credit because he's now fallen in love with comedy. He had a comedy show that night, so he got home like 10 something. I guess he took a nap for a couple hours and then was performing on stage.
Good for him,
He didn't
man.
take the fucking day off. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Hell yeah.
And this is why I'm mad that radio is dying. Because that's a job. Being a goof is a job. And that's not going to be around anymore. Not for like the money they make. Yes, you can do it on YouTube. But they don't understand what these podcasters are doing, what YouTube is doing, is ruining a career salary. These guys, these morning show guys in the 90s, the money they were making, Opie, even the lower level, the local guys who were the copycats of that in the world. Think about it. Dee Schneider was a fucking huge morning guy. Bubba the Love Sponge. Fucking all these people were doing this crazy shit. Everybody's town had that one, he's a crazy guy from like Philadelphia, whatever. They weren't big. They were making 6 fucking figures. They were getting chicks half their age, and they were just being goofy and doing morning zoo horse shit. And now, if you do that on a podcast or TikTok, yeah, you can earn money for a little bit. There's so much more going after you now. There's so much to select from. You can't make big money. You got to earn it every time by your advertiser doing it. Like, we ruined a gig for morons. Like, that's my whole life. I wanted to be a moron. Oh, Kish has another theory. Elizabethan times. Audience would bang their chairs in the ground instead of applauding. If they liked the performance, they banged their chairs hard enough, the leg of the chair would break. That one I like better. Break a chair. But then, like, back then, you needed a lot of chairs.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of overhead on not on my performances, but on a good comedian's performances.
But that's like, like indie wrestling when they're like, let's just keep putting them through tables. Like, you got to buy tables. The tables cost more than the wrestlers at this point. Podcasting is OnlyFans for men. Jody, men are on OnlyFans, just not the ones you and I look at. There's so many dudes jerking off on OnlyFans. I think that's a big part of it. Did you see OnlyFans is doing comedy now?
Yep.
Like Whitney Cummings is the first special on there.
Yep.
What's your feel of that?
Good. There's already a substantial female comedian clientele to choose from, all really very well versed within their platform.
What?
There's a lot of female comedians already on OnlyFans, so
Right.
it's a perfect fit.
Right, but they're not doing comedy on it. If you subscribe to Karen Feehan's OnlyFans, you don't want to watch her tell a joke on that same channel. I think you would watch her do comedy, but I don't think you want to mix your punchlines in your butthole. You know what I mean? Like Whitney Cummings is not doing anything but jokes in video on her channel. Like, they're trying to get it so people will treat it like Patreon and not like porn. And I get that idea, but I think you're overthinking the thing. I get what they're trying to do with it, but it's already the best thing it can be.
Oh,
You're
but
adding more, you're going to ruin it.
I think you're misunderstanding what I was saying. So you've got, and Feehan's not a great example because she's actually a really solid comedian, but a lot of these other ones, like, instead of you paying $5 to see their tits, you watch their comedy special, and then you get to see their tits.
You could just watch the special and then go on your phone. OnlyFans leaked their name.
Yeah, no, but here's what I'm saying. In order to get those pictures, you have to sit through the video.
Well, no, see, I don't know if somebody would sit through a 45-minute set to see boobs. And you can't fast forward?
You cannot fast forward. No, but 45 minutes for boobs. Pat, come on. It's going to be 5 minutes of clips to see boobs. For 45 minutes, it's going to be queefing. Thank you, Jody.
I don't like the word queef. I get the whole joke thing, whatever it is. You're not going to combine the two because they want men. They want people like you and I to go instead of Patreon. Put your thing on OnlyFans and see people go there. But it's got a stigma to it already that I don't think a male audience would go. Even if you said, dude, it's just our comedy. It's there. It's a better platform. The videos are crisper. It's more content. It's great. I don't think they would go there because of what it was. Like you ever live in a town that used. Oh, go ahead.
Big issue is so a lot of people link it to their Twitter, and they didn't institute this from the beginning, so people aren't going to want who they subscribe to be out there once they transition from subscriber to platform user.
Right. And I also think that people, I don't know this. I've like I said, I've never been on OnlyFans. But I know people that have an OnlyFans. And I do know some people that do subscribe to OnlyFans. And it's not like they're like wanting the world to know that they're paying, whatever it is, $15 a month or $20 a month to be there. And if you do sign up for an OnlyFans and someone's like, what are you listening to? It's like, oh, it's Matt Rife on OnlyFans. You can try all you want afterwards to convince them you're just watching his special. But because of the stigma and what it is, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude, I swear to God, I only pay $5 for that. I pay $15 to look at, I don't know, who's a good, like, Riley Reid's OnlyFans or whatever the fuck it would be.
Yeah.
How do they get over that? Do you get rid of the thing that makes you good? Like, remember when IHOP wanted to do dinner?
Yeah, and they want the IHOP or whatever.
Yeah, they tried to go IHOP with the burger, but then they realized we don't have to do that. We could just serve dinner.
Oh, I thought it was the handicap community went after them.
They already were IHOP.
Yeah, but they're like, hop's okay. That seems athletic. Hob? That seems like hobbling.
Or I thought it was like hobbits. You little hairy bitches eat here.
Well, if the shoe fits.
That's the thing. When you try to change it, like, you ever live in a town that had a strip club and then the strip club closed down and someone put a restaurant there, and you're like, I know it's not that strip club anymore, but I am not eating there.
Dude, the craziest thing happened in my town. So the strip club became a daycare where all the moms who got knocked up while they were stripping's kids enrolled, and one of the former strippers just got her license.
Oh, so they all were there. That's good.
That's kind of what I was thinking, Jody, as well. If they had like another, like, rebrand. Oh, this is.
It has to be a separate platform, though.
Yeah. Complete separate platform.
Yeah, it can't be. You just change your name. And then
yeah, like a sister company.
Or you combine it to only jobs, because you could either have your job as a comic or blowjobs.
Ooh, I would love a blowjob. Are you offering?
I think I'd be terrible. I talk too much. You hate Oh, I think if there was something shoved down my throat, my voice would get higher.
It would sound like fucking trying to start a car, but the alternator's not working. Just. I
wonder what would happen. Like, because when I laugh, like my hysterical laugh, it's that higher thing I do. Would that be the noise that comes out of me when I'm getting skull fucked, or would it be the dark thing?
It depends on how into it you were.
Well, that's the thing. Even if I wasn't into it, when I'm laughing that hard, I'm not like on purpose going, do this octave. It's
Good
just
point.
my body out of control. So if I'm just getting railed, I might go high pitch.
When you throw up, is it higher pitch or lower pitched?
I haven't thrown up in a long time because I don't drink. I think it's like this kind of. I think it's I don't think it's
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a guttural thing then.
But that's a puke. That's me letting out, not me taking in.
How about when you nut, when you orgasm?
I'm not vocal. Whoa! Woo!
When you yell bombs away, is it high pitched or low pitched?
You know what? I've never yelled bombs away. I'm not one to go. I kind of like let people know it's happening, or I pull out. But I don't say a lot then. I make noises throughout a little bit, but I don't make any noise. I don't have a thing. Do you have like a catchphrase or something?
Yeah, I like that. I'm with a good old yeah.
Well, what if they're Native American? You're gonna insult them. Oh, you do their thing.
What made what made the fat man jizz?
What?
No, like the song "What Made the Red Man Red."
Oh, I thought you were doing a bit. I was like, I thought it was a knock knock. Who's there?
If it's Asian, just hit a gong.
Jody tells them past tense. my bad. Look what happened to you. I knew a kid in college who would yell out because we lived in a rugby house, so he was in there. It was 6 of you could hear it through the walls, and he on purpose would yell shit so we could hear him in there. And one time he just yelled, "Oh boy, you're in trouble." We all just started laughing, and she stopped and left. I was like, God damn it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you don't want to tell someone they're in trouble. Have you ever had anybody say weird shit to you?
No.
I've had a couple. One person, I think I said this on it before. It was my first time. We were kind of dating a little bit, and she had told me she was kinky, and I had said I am not. And but she's like, "Well, are you open to stuff?" And I'm like, we hadn't had sex yet, so like I'm like, "Well, I'm open to seeing you naked." So
yeah,
I guess I'll out loud now without a contract in principle say I'm open to stuff, but I'm not saying I'm down for everything, whatever. And I get there, and we go up to her room, whatever, and she gets naked, but then she goes off to a drawer, and she pulls out like this thing with a tail on it. I'm like, "What is this?" She goes,
I've heard you. Yeah,
I've said this, right? Where she said, I like to do a horse thing. I said, "I don't want to fuck a horse." Well, I said, "I don't want to be a horse." And she goes, No, I'm the horse." I said, "I don't want to fuck a horse."
Well, of the two, it's better that she wanted to be the horse, right?
No, I don't want no horseplay of any kind. No, don't be a creature. What? I know I sound prude, and I'm sorry, but what just happened to sex? Sex is great. There's nothing wrong with some talking. I love a talk. I'm a talker, not a yeller at the end, but a talker during and like foreplay. That's awesome. Like the back of both people talking. I like that.
Yeah.
I like, people to be adventurous. I like someone to let you know, hey, I like this, don't like that. I like all that kind of stuff. But when you're like, I need to be a creature. Like, nah, I don't want you to be a creature. Just be a lady.
Yeah, I get that. I guess I have had in hindsight, some people yell some weird things to me.
There we go. Here goes Bobby taking the 2 minutes during my story to think of some 3 gems that he's going to throw out that it didn't really happen. Go ahead. All right, Bobby, what are these? I feel like David Letterman on Paul Schaefer. The top 5 things Bobby's heard in the bedroom. Number 5.
Oh my God, you're so big.
Number 4.
Oh my God, this is the biggest penis I've ever had. Wow, you look skinnier in person.
Number 3.
You've ruined me for all other men.
Number 2.
Only had 3. Comedy was rule of 3 there, Jay.
All right, and number 1, no kidding.
You're not.
Number 2 was them just saying that. I only had 3.
And number 1 was, you're not that Catholic. Stop blaming your ED on God.
I did have someone say when I was in college, a girl said afterwards, "I'm just psyched you didn't choke me." I said, "I'm also psyched I didn't do that."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yes. She was pumped, which means that, she just thought it was going to happen. The choking.
I did have someone call me the F word because we're on YouTube. Once when I lost the rod mid act.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I didn't know how that got so meta. I thought you were saying they called you the F word because you and I are on YouTube, And that's why they called you that word.
Oh,
In bed. But then I realized you were censoring yourself.
Yeah.
I was like, that's wild. This happened recently?
Right now? What? No.
Why did they call you gay?
Because the straight thing didn't happen. Or mid-straightness proving. I lost the ability to prove said straightness.
Wait, so you got soft and they shamed you?
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Oh, you've opened up a world of words to me there, Jody.
By the way, if you haven't listened to his podcast, Po' Boys, it's a fun one. He's a hilarious dude, man. Jody's.
Oh, that's okay. That's where I recognize the name.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Jody's awesome, and I was on his show a couple weeks ago. He's fucking great. You should have Bobby on sometime, Jody. We're gonna have Jody on here sometime too. I talked to him about that. He told me when his schedule was. I didn't think he was good for today, but maybe we'll hit him up during the week because we got another one coming up. That's wild that she. Are you making that with you? I never know.
That one I am not.
So she like called out your sexuality because
I'm gonna just break down the humor because again, you don't know what the truth is with me. Right. I think she felt personally insulted by what had occurred, and that was her lashing out. No, and what she didn't expect in response was a debate on how saying that wasn't gonna help the situation.
Well, I think at that point she probably thought there was no recovery. You know what I mean? I don't think she was pep talking. Did she go, come on, F word? You can do it. Like, if she did that, that's one thing. Oh,
Jody, it was more.
Jody has a good question.
Yeah. Both physically and as a human being.
Hold on, stop. You answered that. I've been podcasting you for 2 years. That was the most truthful I've ever heard you. That was you. There wasn't even. Usually, you pause, you think, you overthink a joke. You just, yeah. That was the. Why didn't you say that? I'm not gay. You're ugly. That would have inspired her to prove because you could prove you're not gay by having sex with her. She can't prove she's not ugly. You would win.
Well, in her defense, that was kind of like it was more like don't be you're acting like a just come fuck me. You know?
Jody's telling me I have to read every comment. No, Jody, we don't.
No, he's saying because I get it.
No. There's other one. No, there's this. You don't see everything I'm seeing. There's this.
That's why I yelled at that stupid bitch.
There's this. There's that.
You don't see everything I'm saying.
I know. I've dated this person. It's like you didn't respond to every text. Like you said 23 in a row. I can only work on so many. You gotta pause.
That is a good point. I should read what Jody's saying because some listeners are listening, not watching, though. That one is a good comment, Jody. The listeners can't read.
I haven't put audio out in 2 months. We've just been YouTube only, buddy. I don't care anymore. And if they can't read, fuck them. It's a whole experience with us, Bobby. You have to have all your senses. We don't tend to the blinds.
No blind people here.
Get out of here with your stupid eyes. Oh, my eyes are dumb. Get out of here. I did say, was she ugly? I read that and said, was she ugly? Bobby said it too, and then they got it. They understood it even if they didn't see it. Don't believe me. Jody, you're a great podcaster. As a comedian, I get what people are laughing at. We all knew the bitch was ugly.
Yeah.
And even if they thought fat, it's still just as funny. It's a real fucking thing.
Not even so much as physically, emotionally too.
She was emotionally ugly?
Not a good person.
What were you doing with your dick in her?
I was in love.
With an ugly person?
Happens to the best of us, man. Sometimes you catch the supervillain right before they hit that arc, and there are still shreds of a good human being left.
I have to admit, even the ugliest person that I think I dated, people find attractive.
Oh, that wasn't an issue, Pat. Trust me. Lots of dudes found her attractive.
No, I meant like for real, not
No, I know, but like lots,
shit.
like literally, pretty much fucking any dude within a 30-mile radius of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, found her attracted and acted on those actions.
You just thought she was ugly, and everyone else thought she was hot.
Pat, I moved to New York. Lancaster AIDS in New York too.
At the time, not now.
At the time, she didn't shave.
Shave what?
Anything.
Face?
Anything, dude.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
It looked like I was fucking a middle Brian Urlacher from the waist down.
How many more middle linebacker references are we gonna do on this show?
They all get fucked. Also, that's why people get so kinky, dude. Because you got to make better linebackers. You got to up the ante somehow.
Put it up our ante?
Yeah, exactly. Now you're getting it. Now you're figuring it out.
God damn it.
You got to teach them to blitz the a-hole.
I can't fuck the uglies.
That's not what Sandusky said.
I know. He was more passionate than I am.
He was like, it's a Small World song. He had all the kids.
He's like,
every race, color, creed.
It's a world of laughter, a world of tears. I have put my dick inside your rear.
They try to torture him in prison like they do AJ. He just keeps nutting everywhere.
It's like, I can't stop. Then we'll get him with this one. I believe the children are of you. Oh, it's like, all right, goddamn.
No!
Stop. Nothing but Michael Jackson for you. Hooray!
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
That's like a guy who likes fat chicks. They play Big Girls Don't Cry the whole time. They will when I'm done with them.
Yeah, I made that big girl cry a lot.
I like that right away. That song became about, like, they stopped it after a while. But when I was growing up, that was an old song. But then, like, 10 years later in commercials, they just started putting it with fat women. Like, you need, like, those, what was it called? Like underalls? It was like a pantyhose that didn't show your fat underwear. And it was like
Spanx.
They called them underalls back then. The Spanx was a better name. Underalls was the thing, and they would just show fat chicks. They're like, your stupid fat ass sticking out of your shitty pants. Wear this, fatty. And they're like, big girls don't cry. Like, why is this okay?
Sometimes they do.
Everybody cries. Everybody. Who doesn't cry?
Me, because I don't have to run a mile.
Every week you end this podcast by saying you're going to cry and then kill yourself.
I know. I'm all thought, no action.
It's how we fucking close this thing out. I heard somebody say unalive on another podcast, like, holy shit, Bobby didn't make that up.
No, yeah, that's really what they go with, dude. I'm unaliving myself.
I did not. I thought you were just being a goofball. That is not, I didn't think that was that at all.
You know how, like, certain other shows use words for other words? Like Piazza?
Yeah, like Brennan, yeah. Brennan.
We could call it Robin Williamsing.
Nah, no, because even then he was still a better comic than us.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? We can't.
What if we
can't follow.
okay.
He's still so funny. We still can't.
We can't follow. That's a good point. What if we call it Stephen Hawking?
Smarter than us.
But he
Name
didn't
a dummy
actually.
that killed himself.
But he didn't actually kill himself, Pat. That's the key
First
about
of all,
Stephen Hawking. He just should have.
If you are feeling down or low, please call a hotline or a friend or text someone. Never, ever do that. I've never met anybody that was dead and came back, so you don't know a better option. Anyway, go with the hilarity.
Or make a statement.
My nephew jumps in with a "Don't cry, Bobby." This is why I love Mike.
Mike, you're the man.
It's a high school boy. Tell Bobby, don't you fucking cry, Bobby.
Speaking of crying high school boys.
Ooh. I don't know if I agree with Jordy here because I was and still am a huge fan of this man's work. But Mikey's thing, Hawks. Bourdaining is a fun one.
Okay. Yeah. But I thought you said you were a fan of this band.
No, this man.
Oh, I was like, wait, did he have a musical career?
And this guy was brilliant, and it took one woman This is kind of on your alley where you get mad at women for existing.
Yeah, no,
Like one woman
I get it, Aunt.
to kind
To
of
combine both references.
You're not even that hot of a lady.
Oh,
And the
Captain,
worst
my
I can-
Captain Bourdain. Yeah, but she molested a boy.
What?
That's why. She was one of the Me Too's. She was a female Me Too. She fucked a dude,
Right, yeah.
boy for a role.
It wasn't a boy.
He wasn't 18.
He wasn't
Allegedly.
like 4.
Okay, fair enough, but yeah. I see what
Never
you're saying.
touch kids' balls.
Unless you're a hot woman, then it's kind
No.
of okay.
No. Unballing. That's what I'm saying. All right. I think
But we were talking about boys. I do want to say,
okay.
big show, cute high school boy looking face, Avery Quinn, coming up at the dojo. He's going to be featuring. It's a family friendly show. It's a big show. So if you're in that Morris Plains, Morristown, I know we have a lot of fans in that area. Check out Avery featuring. I forget who the headliner is, but he's a big, well-known comic. He's one of Rogan's pack, but he works family friendly and is clean, so it'll be a good show. Check out Avery there.
Where is it? What time?
December
day?
22nd, I believe. But I'll post it on my links because I'm rooting for Avery. It's going to be a fun show.
And then New Year's Eve, you can see what they're doing the Avery plugs. New Year's Eve, you can see Avery at the Twisted Vine in Derby opening up for Mas Palazzo with me as well. So he'll be there New Year's Eve.
And if you're in Avery's hometown of Shippensburg for New Year's, you can see me and Earl David Reed at the Shippensburg Comedy Club.
Look at that. It's like Avery Quinn is our Kevin Bacon. Everybody's adjacent. So. Yes, you will see me on Thanksgiving, Mike.
Oh, dude, I didn't see the second part of that. I thought Mike was just threatening to fight you. Like, I'll see you next week, Pat. Peace out, Mike. You're the man.
He is the man. I enjoy him. He's a great kid. He's in high school. He's a volunteer fireman, and he's like, he's already like learning all that stuff. He's so into it. It's way more of a hero than I'll ever be already at his
Dude,
age.
have I told you this? It was a bit. It never worked on stage. So may I tell you it? I know you hate when people do bits on a podcast.
No, but I like when you talk, so that's fine.
Okay. So do you know what a hero complex is?
Yes.
They say.
Yeah, I know a lot of people
so,
with that.
I think America.
I was told I had that.
Yeah, I was told I have a God complex, which is crazy because.
Real quick, one more comment for you to read. And Jody, I know you're going to say I should read this one. I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah, I think that's a Joe Mackey bit, actually. Because he's like, I grew up as an altar boy. Oh, I would love that, man. See
Go
you,
ahead. So you're gonna do a
Jake,
bit.
Pat.
We're going to close it on a bit.
No. So this is literally about volunteer firefighters. So
right.
the hero complex, American firefighters die at a rate 90 times higher than anywhere else in the world. And they say it's because of that hero complex. Like, they enter situations they shouldn't and things like that. I think it may have something to do with the fact that 2/3 of American firefighters are volunteers. Like, they're just doing what they're told. You know what I mean? Like, we rely on people like your nephew or your cousin. I forget what it was. Your nephew, who are willing to give up their time and life. Like, that's why. It's because in fucking Germany, it's the highest paying civil service career. Here, it's just some good old boys from a farm who like helping people in their free time. And I think maybe if we gave them a little more money, we'd have a little less issues. That's just my thoughts on the matter.
That's a fair point. I think I've heard someone else try to make a bit about that, but it wasn't as eloquent. So I appreciate you saying that. I wouldn't even go into a fire for money. So I couldn't imagine going in for humanity ever. That is not something I would do.
There are very few things in life that could get me to go into a fire. Probably the strongest would be, though, if I was arguing with my girlfriend at the time and she was like, don't you dare go in that fire. I'd be like, you know what, bitch? I'm going in the fucking fire. Sometimes hating women's good.
And Mike, I know what you put. He's not from a farm. Mike's a...
No, I know Mike's not, but I was just saying,
No.
like, it's usually some good old boys from that. That's what they do for their free time.
But Mike
They learn
also
about
then
fire.
in a comment wrote that, but then also wrote where he's from, and I'm not putting it up because you are a boy. But yes, I know, Mike. We're not from. People know that your uncle's not farm folk.
No, that wasn't what I was saying. I apologize, Mike.
But
what's
way,
crazy-
Bobby, Mike is my height and like over 250 already. So if I send him your way, he's gonna take you out like Godzilla in a China.
No, like, dude, I remember this dude at Dick's. He slept, and bred firefighting, but literally was a volunteer. Like, it's crazy the passion people like that show and aren't rewarded for it financially. That's all I was getting at, Mike.
Right.
Please don't kill me.
Yeah, he's fun. Okay, he's better now.
Also, that's an awesome car
Yeah. What?
in his profile picture.
Oh, I can't even. You know, it's so dark on my thing. I can't even see it. But all right. You got anything else? Any more brain busters?
I think we've done it for tonight. We'll save some for our big show that's coming up later in the week.
Yeah, we're doing Wednesday. Jody, if you're still listening, I'll reach out. We're doing we're going on at 10 o'clock Eastern, so that's 9 o'clock your time. So if that works for you, let me know. I'll message you, and maybe we'll have you on. If not, we'll have you on soon. It'll be a good time. Bobby, what do you got going on? What does Avery Quinn not have going on?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the night before Thanksgiving at Avery Quinn's hometown club, the Harrisburg Comedy Zone, you can see me and Earl David Reed. This Friday, Mickey's Black Box, you can see me and Earl David Reed. And December 1st, this is the big one. I talked a lot of shit to be able to headline this show, so please fucking come out. December 1st, Laughing Stock Comedy Club. Me, Ron Kane, Sabrina Piper, Jeffrey Paul. It's going to be a fun show. All killers. Please come out.
Nice. Jody, there's a lot of other good oaches, but don't worry, I'm not one of them. But Mike too.
He hasn't met Jake.
Right, I was gonna say that, and even Mike will laugh and go, "God damn it, Uncle G!" He wants to know. No, the greatest one is actually my youngest, and I shouldn't say this at all, but he knows too. My youngest sister Sharon, his aunt Sharon, is the greatest oats in the history of oats.
I'm a big fan of Quaker.
By far. Jody, it would be Wednesday, but I'll message you. He's asking one time. Anyway, what do I got going this week? So we're gonna do a live show on Wednesday around 10 o'clock ish when Bobby gets out of what he's got to do. Thursday morning, if you live in the Fairfield County area or that area around there, I will be with 95.9 to Fox. We're doing the all day food drive at Palmer's Market in Darien. I'll be there from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for 2 hours. We're going to go on the air a little bit, but also just non-perishables, help people out. Thursday night, I'll be at Comics, Mohegan Sun. I went, I should have told this story. 2-second story. I went to Mohegan Sun this weekend, had nothing going on, so me and Dion just took a ride up. Finesse Mitchell was headlining, and I've always found him super funny, but never seen him live, and I wanted to see him. Place was fucking packed, sold out for him. And I'm at one table in the back with Dion, far back, and I look to the left, and a comic I know, a buddy of mine, Think Floyd, is sitting at the table next to us. Now, Think Floyd's brother is with him, and his brother,
Pink,
for people who don't know, is JB Smooth. So JB also came down to watch Finesse, and we're sitting there. So Think walks after when it was over. I've met JB one time before. We had him at Joker's Wild, but it was years ago. But I know Think well. So Think walks by me, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And he was like, "Pat O's, what's up?" And he's right away grabs JB. JB, yo, it's Pat O's. Remember from Joker's Wild? And JB's like, "Pat, my man, New Haven, you're the man. How you been?" Like, remember me? So like, I looked like a big star in front of people as me and JB are shaking hands. So it's kind of cool. It's awesome that like a comic like that, and that's just cool. A guy like Finesse, who's very funny and drew, but also like is so funny that a famous comedian drove from New York to the casino to hang with him and their friend, but also to watch it and sat. And that's the other thing where it was like a lot of comics will go to shows and say they're around, but they hide in the green room or they don't watch the show. JB sat and watched the opening act and the headliner, the entire laughing, having. It was like it's awesome that a huge star, a guy Curb and all that, could sit there and enjoy that. So and Finesse was fucking awesome. He looked at the people in the audience. He was killing it. And a guy was talking, I guess, a little. We couldn't really hear him. And he just smoothly, as he was talking, he just stopped and goes, "Hey, man, shut the fuck up. You don't want me to talk about you." And he shut up. And he just kept telling the joke. I'm like, holy shit. That was like the smoothest thing. That and a line he said where he said, he always asks his wife for sex, and sometimes she says weird answers without thinking. And one time he goes, "You want to have sex?" And she went, "Ew," and he goes, "Ew." She goes, "Oh, my bad, I wasn't thinking." He goes, "What?" He goes, "Ew's for homeless people."
That's a great
It was like
line.
only a black comic can pull that off. If I said that, I'd be
Yeah, you'd be horrible. Yeah.
But it was awesome. So anyway, Thursday night I'll be at Comics 10 p.m. with Frank Morgallo putting on the show there. Friday I am at Riverwalk Social in Derby. Come on out and see that show. We got AJ on the show, a bunch of other comics. Saturday Saturday during the day I'm on PLR 10 to 3, and then I have a private gig in Trumbull and I won't be on there. But bunch of shit going on. And our big New Year's Eve show that I mentioned, if you're living in Connecticut, come on down to Twisted Vines. Got a huge show. Tickets are already selling already. Mats Palazzo is a very funny crowd work guy. Avery Quinn and myself. Come check that out. You can hit me up for details and stuff like that. Thank you for everyone who's subscribing to the YouTube channel. We've been growing and growing and growing. We're getting a lot more followers all the time. It's awesome. Keep watching all the videos because we need the views now to get the super chats, to get all that shit. Now we just need a bunch of views. So watch the videos all the way through, share them with people, do all that kind of stuff. We really appreciate you. And Bobby.
And check Pat's posts. Help Barb out if you can. And if you can't beat him,
I'll put links up all over the
Yeah.
place. It's in the side, and Bobby will be sharing it too. But we'll put posts up. Go to the GoFundMe. She's got a big goal there. She needs the help. She's awesome. Want to have her back on the show
yeah,
soon.
she's out
Please
for
help
6
Barb out.
months. Yeah. So, and if you can't join him, beat him, and don't be a piece of shit. Pat, hang on if you can.